The Power Play Post Show is on the air, covering minor league hockey since 2003, and now covering the Binghamton Black Bears with news, reactions, and in-depth interviews only heard here. And now, from the Box Studios in Kirkwood, New York, here are your hosts of the Power Play Post Show, Bob Howard and Taylor Welch.
And hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Power Play Post Show. This is the show for June 25th, 2026. This is season 15, episode number 77. And this is episode number 591 in the long-running podcast that is the Power Play Post Show. Hello, everyone. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we're just sweltering here in the summertime. Us hockey people just don't understand how to handle the summer. Oh, wait, no. Taylor's okay in the summertime. Right, Taylor?
I feel like I'm busier now than I ever have been, and that's saying something. Because I'm usually a pretty busy person, but yeah, it's still pretty much nonstop, and now the kiddo's out of school, so it's going to get more interesting for sure.
Yeah, matter of fact, that's probably what within the last few days that school ended for her and for most of the kids in New York, correct?
Yeah, hers was Tuesday was her last day, and I think for up here, I think the seniors still I think they're still testing.
Yeah.
So I still think they've got some stuff to go on, but I think most everybody is done this week for New York schools, I think.
Yeah, I know the Dix Open happens this weekend. Tyson was at the Pro-Am, playing in the Pro-Am, and then I think he's got one more event to do, and then he's going to be heading down to Mid-South, which is very interesting. It leads me into what I wanted to talk about. This is how are we feeling after the drafts, knowing that Kirks, Cervone, Mack, Emery, McAnanima are definitely 100% not returning to the Black Bears this upcoming season. You know, we're 2 weeks away from finding out this information, Taylor, and I'm kind of curious your thoughts on it. Have they changed at all in the last 2 weeks? Or are you still okay with everything?
Yeah, I wouldn't say my feelings changed at all about it. I was pretty much okay with it from the start. It does suck to see these guys, either move on or go to different teams or, whatever their circumstances are. And because I have a feeling we'll probably see, more people not returning for various reasons, whether it's they got a job, they new career, they're going to retire, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
That's just my own personal feeling because some of these guys have been here for a while. So yeah. I can't say I'm shocked if we're going to see, if we're going to lose a couple more people. And I won't be shocked if they stay. Hockey's a very hard sport to get out of, but let alone from Binghamton. It seems like it's just that much harder. It's just that's the cherry on top. And so I can't say it's weird to say that I'm not upset. Because, these guys, every single one of these players obviously played a huge role. Kirkby probably the most because he's been here the most and he's definitely had the most impact, I'd say.
Yeah.
But each one of these players definitely held a special role and a special place here in Binghamton. So I'm sad to see that part, it's like the ending of a 3-series book, it seems like. And so I think it's ending on a great note. I think it's a great time for certain players to kind of move on or go try new things and that kind of thing. I think it's truly a great starting point to kind of take a step in a different direction than what they've been doing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say my feelings about it are any different.
Yeah. And I think it's a new era that's about to begin, right? Whether Brant Sherwood returns or not. And in the past, we've known by now whether or not he's going to return. And I'll be frank with everybody. I have had conversations with Brant, but even I don't know if he's going to return. And there's an uncertainty there, and that's okay. And I did see a comment earlier this week, might have been yesterday, might have been this morning, when a fan kind of lashed out on Tyson Kirkby because he was leaving. And it's like everybody's feelings on that is kind of valid. And it's okay to have certain feelings about this because as Taylor and I have talked about for the past 2 years now, year and a half now, whatever it's been over a year now that she's joined the show. And we've kind of talked about this. you, the fan, invest so much with these players and get so close to these players. And it's tough when they leave, when they go, when they're gone. One of the players for you, Taylor, because there was an emotion there for you when we heard that Connor Smith was going to go play in Motor City. You really liked Connor Smith, the way he played on the ice, and just I think there's an aura about the Cowboy that girls love, guys love. It's kind of like, one of those famous actors that, girls want to be with and guys want to, be, right? Or hang out with, that type of thing. And I'm not saying you want to be with Connor Smith. That's not what I'm saying at all. But you understand what I'm saying there. Like, there was an emotion there. You're like, oh, man, damn it, he's going to Motor City. It's like, that's too bad. And I think with Kirks and Cervone and Emery and even McAnanama, and I think out of all the people that I know is not coming back, C-Mac is the guy for me, like, that I know. Because, like, Cervone and M, I'm happy for them. Like they're going, and I think, honestly, they're going to play a bigger role in Mid-South than they did here in Binghamton. And I talked to Cervone about that, and you guys will hear a little bit of my interview with Cervone a little bit later on in the show. I am happy for those two because I know that they're going to excel. I'm going to miss the crap out of what I consider one of the best goaltenders in single-A hockey. And I think he's going to prove that in the SPHL next year as well, that even at that level, he's going to be so good. So I get the reaction. I get the feelings that people sometimes have when these guys leave.
Yeah, I definitely think any type of feeling that you have is certainly warranted. And, I think a huge factor in that is something else that we've kind of talked about is that we truly are extremely spoiled here in Binghamton. And I don't mean that in a negative way,
no.
But we've had the same kind of group for years and years and years. And yeah, a couple people have kind of interchanged here and now. And, we lost, Clark and Mott, and they were they were like a duo in our team, and everybody loved them. And we kind of lost them, they went each their own way, which again, I think that was kind of good for them. And to your point about, Cervone and Emery, I think it's going to be really good for them. And I do think that they're going to be able to play a bigger role, down in Mid-South than they could here in Binghamton. And that's not saying anything negative about what they did here in Binghamton. It's just the amount of talent that was on Binghamton's team was insane.
Yeah.
So I think for some of these guys to be able to branch out and go try new things is truly a great thing for them. And as far as Connor, I don't think anybody is upset by him, not coming back or not wanting to come back or, whatever, getting picked up by a California team. Because I think from the first year that we had him, just so many people, especially other teams, really wanted him to move up to a different league. They really wanted him basically out of Binghamton because they don't want to face him. And I can't blame them. You look at those eyes and that would terrify me. I don't think I could ever shoot against Connor McAnanama. But, it's one of those things where I think kind of you're sad to see them go, but at the same time, the majority of the fans are just like so excited for them to kind of move on. And I get it why, people are upset about Tyson if that's truly how they feel. Yeah. Tyson really did play such a huge role, and he's been the captain, and he's been here for 5 years. And, he's really, he sticks around here in Binghamton, and he does all these things with the fans, and he kind of, outside of what he actually does on the ice is what he does for the community itself. So I definitely think it's warranted to be upset or mad or happy, whatever feeling you're feeling. Mm-hmm. I think you have a perfectly valid reason for having any type of emotion about it.
Yeah, no. And that's true. And nobody said anything about C-Mac. That was just me talking. Honestly, I'm going to miss how he, played in the net, and I'm going to have to go and get on my cheat box and, watch some of his games in the SPHL just to see how he's doing and keep up with him for sure. But I also feel like, look, what I feel like is going to happen with Emery and Cervone is like what happened with Caden Henry, right? When Caden Henry left, boy, did he just blossom, right? He went from a guy that could barely get enough minutes, and he complained about it, and there was an agreement for him to go. And then when he went, he exploded and became a great player. Because here's what it comes down to. Brant Sherwood finds a lot of great players, and they all can't stay, right? You know, as fans, you'll find out you can sign up to 30 guys before training camp. Okay. So you can bring in 30 guys for training camp. If you're just a regular established team like the Black Bears are, you can sign up to 30 guys, right? They can be on your PTO list. And then you got to get it down to that 23, 24 for the first couple weeks of the season. And then you'll have to get it down to 20 plus 1. And so you're going to see a lot of guys get signed. And I think this year will be the first year in a while that we see the Black Bears actually execute that a little bit more to find out who is going to be the best players. And already this week, we've seen 2 guys get signed. We'll talk about that in our main segment here on the show. And what's interesting is that we don't see Kirks as the first signee here in Binghamton. Matter of fact, I don't even think he's signed his PTO yet with Mid-South. So that's kind of interesting there. But I'm okay with the team changing. I just hope that the team is I don't want to say as good because that's such a unfair expectation to put on them. I'm hoping the team is as amazing to be around, whether you're a fan, whether you're a media member, whether you're a teammate, whether you're someone who works in the front office, as these last few years have been with the guys that Brant Sherwood has brought in. And if that means Brant Sherwood stays for the next 50 years, I'm sorry, Brant, that's just the way it's going to be. You're going to have to stay here. You're going to have to, 86 years old, you're still coaching the Black Bears. I'm okay with that because you know how to bring in the right people.
In 86 years, he's going to need a megaphone to yell at the players on the ice because they're not going to be able to hear him.
No, he's just not going to be able to hear them. So he's going to need hearing aids if he's 86 years old. That
might be a good thing. Maybe he can't yell at the refs. I mean, not that he did that much this year anyways, but, maybe that'd be a good thing. Maybe he can't really give it to the refs at that point.
There's another aspect I heard a couple fans, and I'm not calling out fans at all, and I won't say names and things of that nature. But I do want to say that some fans have also said, well, why aren't we signing people? If you look at the track history, and we'll talk about this in more in depth in just a few minutes, you look at what the Black Bears have done, they're only 5 days away from what they did last year. Last year, they signed somebody on June 18th. That was Tyson Kirkby. Well, 1 year and 5 days later, they signed the new kid that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. So I think there are some people that are thinking, well, everybody's signing a bunch of people. There's a lot of movement out there, and yet the Black Bears aren't doing anything. And I think that even if there is a change, for Binghamton before we get to the start of training camp, Binghamton is doing what it's always done when it comes to signing players, and you just don't need to sign quickly just because everybody else is.
I'm not sure if it's so much the player movement that you're seeing throughout the league, because I'll be honest, I haven't paid too much attention. Motor City pops up a lot for me.
Yeah.
I feel like they're probably one of the ones that are signing the most at the time, and them and the Watertown Wolves. And I don't know if it's so much the player signings that are happening to the PTOs as much it is that we're seeing a lot of former Black Bears out there signing with it. So I think that's kind of where, fans are starting to see that, and they're like, oh, well, all these former Black Bears are signing with all these other teams, and yet we haven't signed anybody. So I think that's probably where the, people might start, stressing about, which we're not even in July yet.
Okay.
So this is why I don't pay too much attention to the roster until we get much closer to the season. Because as you mentioned, we can sign up to 30 players, which I think is another kind of confusing aspect for some fans.
Yeah.
Because, we'll sign more people than we can have, and then we have to let people go before we actually get to the season. And I think that's kind of a confusing transition, because I think we did it a couple times before the beginning of last season, where we signed somebody, but then they never played and they were released and everyone was wondering why, and they were confused. So yeah. I definitely think that's a conversation that needs to be talked about, and something that needs to be understood is, how the training camp works, and, people come in to try out, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to make it, or they're not necessarily on the team. Mm-hmm. So there's certain things that I think leads to confusion. And I think signings, during the summer are definitely one of those things.
100%. 100%. No, you're totally right. It is confusing, but you can bring in a certain amount of players. You try them out. It's, it happens in football, it happens in baseball, where people come in. Sometimes they're what they call walk-ons, and that doesn't necessarily happen, obviously, in hockey. But there are walk-ons that happen in basketball and football, and sometimes those guys make it, and sometimes they're just amazing players. Whether that happens, in hockey is a different story.
I also think the reason that we're seeing probably the most movement with Motor City is that I feel like they've been prepared. They had that off season where they took the time off, and then they were going to be coming back this upcoming season. So they knew that they had more things in play and in motion before the actual hockey season was over. So they were pretty much ready to go before everybody else was.
I wonder.
So I think that's kind of, at least that's what I'm thinking.
You bring up a great point. I wonder how long they've been courting Dakota and Connor. Like, how long?
Yeah, that's part of.
Yeah. How long have they been talking to these two players?
Because, they've had their head coach figured out. They've had the arena figured out. They have all, the X, Y's, and Z's figured out before the player signings. So it's a lot easier to go to a player and say, hey, this is what we're doing. This is we're ready for this already. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot easier to do that where, on our end, as you said, we don't know if Brant's staying or not.
Yeah, not
he
yet.
wants to go on and move on, which nobody's blaming him for trying.
Yeah.
So it's kind of iffy as far as, what's going to be happening in Binghamton as far as head coaching wise, which can make a lot of players, be like, well, we're going to wait to find out because we want to play for Brant Sherwood, or maybe they just want to come to Binghamton in general. So it does. I think that's why Motor City has quite the head start compared to everybody else.
And again, as I've said, Binghamton generally starts around this time of year anyway, signing players. But you bring up a great point. It's like, how does a player know if he wants to come sign? Because I've said this on this show. I've said this to fans. Players don't come and play for you. They don't come and play for your city. They don't even come and play for the damn jersey that they're going to put on themselves. They normally want to play for a head coach. This happens in college. This happens in pros to a degree, right? Where sometimes you have a choice of what head coach you want to play for, and you'll go and play for that guy. If you're a free agent, you might go and look at 5 teams and go, well, that head coach has got some, I don't know about him. I don't know about him. Oh, that organization's good and that head coach is great. I want to go play for them, right? So there is a little bit of that could be happening, especially here in Binghamton, where that happens in college a lot, where kids will be like, all right, here's the school, here's the dorm. This is what my college life will be like. All right, well, I can replicate that in 4 other places. Oh, wait. This coach is here? Oh, he did what? And he's played where? That's why it was so easy for Brant the last 2 years to recruit guys, is because they won the first year. And you're like, oh, okay, well, this guy knows what he's doing, and people like it, and Binghamton's selling out, the arena. All right, I can come here. And then all of a sudden they realize after the second year of him winning a championship, oh, this is a really great place to come play, right? So you can attract not only veterans, but all the rookies. And hell, we didn't even keep any of the rookies except for Chichu Lathlen and who? Who was, from the beginning of last season, we kept Chichu and who else? That was a rookie.
Scotty technically last year?
No, Scotty was 2 years ago. I can't remember. No, because Scotty's a three-peater.
I can't remember. I can't keep them all straight.
But you see what I'm saying? They, players might be looking at Binghamton right now going, well, do I want to come back? And I don't want to harp on this too much about Brant and everything, because he's got to make a decision. And he's probably already skipped past this part of the show anyways, just because he doesn't want to listen to me talk about his career one way or another. I mean, I want to see him progress and get better and move up. And like I said, my prediction is he'll be in the NHL by the time he's 50 years old. He has to just get that one shot, that one opportunity. And yes, I am quoting Eminem, which makes me an old white guy, but whatever. All right, Taylor, let's move on. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, Amazon Music, and iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook, search for Power Play Post Show, and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. And by the way, binghamtonhockey.net and myself are putting together an unofficial official record book, because I don't think there is technically a Binghamton Black Bears record book. Well, I'm putting one together, and I'm doing all the research this summer. That is what I'm filling my summertime with, including a couple other projects for the Power Play Post Show. But that's what I'm mainly working on. So that'll be fun. But coming up on this episode of the Power Play Post Show, from the Mid-South Monarchs and former Binghamton Black Bear defenseman Cam Cervone.
Power Play Post Show fans, do us a quick favor. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an episode of the show. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you're following the podcast and leave us a rating. It's completely free to do. It takes 2 seconds, and it tells YouTube and Spotify to push the show out to more Binghamton Black Bear fans and more hockey fans just like you. Drop a comment, too. We read them, and we love hearing from you.
All right, Taylor. So the first player signing happened. It did happen on the 23rd. Again, like I said, 5 days after, which is the reason why I did a little bit of research after that. But let's talk about Tristan for a second.
So the 3-time champions at high-scoring leader Tristan Miro, and I'm going to say right now that Bobby and I are pronouncing his last name from a video we watched of him scoring.
Yes.
So we're going to hope that we have it right, and if not, we apologize.
100%.
But Tristan Miro for the 2026-27 season. The 3-time defending Commissioner Cup champions Black Bears have made their first move of the 26-27 offseason official, announcing the signing of forward Tristan Miro. Miro arrives in Binghamton coming off a dominant season with the Northumberland Stars of the GMHL, where he served as alternate captain and produced eye-opening offensive numbers. In just 38 games, he recorded 50 goals and 69 assists, showcasing an elite scoring touch paired with high-end playmaking ability that made him one of the most productive players in the league. Before his time in the GMHL, Miro spent 4 seasons developing in the CCHL with the Cornwall Colts, where he built a reputation as a reliable, consistent two-way leader. Over 178 games with Cornwall, he tallied 53 goals and 102 assists, and ultimately wore the C as team captain in his final season, a clear reflection of his leadership qualities and respect within the locker room. Across both stops, Miro's resume highlights a player who impacts the game in multiple ways. He brings a proven scoring presence, strong vision as a playmaker, and leadership profile that aligns with the culture Binghamton has built during its championship run. For the Black Bears, the signing represents more than just offensive reinforcement. It's a continuation of a winning standard, adding a player who has not only produced at a high level, but has also been trusted in leadership roles at every stage of his career. With championship expectations once again in place for Binghamton heading into the 26-27 season, Miro becomes the first new piece in what is expected to be another competitive and reloaded roster.
Well, let's certainly hope so. Now, obviously, the numbers that really stand out is 119 points last year in the GMHL. Now, he did play in the more competitive CCHL for 4 seasons, okay, where he did tally the 53 goals and 102 assists, which is pretty good. He wore the C for the Colts, wore the A for the Stars. That lines up exactly with, Brant Sherwood, right? That's exactly the type of player he likes to bring in. Someone who's wore a letter and obviously has some scoring ability. It'll be interesting to see how those last 5 seasons in junior A hockey will, turn into pro hockey and what'll happen next year. But we've seen Brant Sherwood pluck a couple really good guys out of junior hockey. It's not always D3. Sometimes it's junior hockey that he plucks people out and brings them up, and they excel well. I'm excited to see this kid. And you saw the couple videos I sent you. I mean, he does some pretty interesting stuff on the ice. It'll be interesting if he can do that in the FPHL as well.
Yeah, I definitely the first video that you had sent, for some reason the only thing I could think of was like he reminded me of Tyson.
Yeah.
But it's just like the way that he plays in front of the net is similar to the way that, Tyson kind of plays in front of the net, and they get those dirty gritty goals, it seems like. So yeah, I'm very interested to see kind of what happens with him. I'm going to be more excited once we get more signings happening, and we're definitely obviously a lot closer to the season, is to kind of figure out like what lines could look like. 'Cause that's always so much fun.
Yes.
We're either very spot on or we're very wrong, but it's definitely a lot of fun to discuss lines and who we think could fit where and with who, and just kind of see that kind of stuff. So I'm excited for that.
Well, it's one of my favorite things, but we don't have enough players signed yet. We don't know who all is coming back yet. So
we don't have enough for a single line yet.
We do not. We do not. We might have two, and everything.
If they were defensive players, we'd have enough for one.
Yes. But we don't yet. Now, fans, I know, like, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, you've been a little concerned about the timing of us and when we've signed players. Well, let's talk about that for a second. So who are the other first signees of each season before this, right? So in the beginning of the Black Bears history, the first ever signee was a guy everybody remembers pretty well. And matter of fact, I think he's going to be back with the Watertown Wolves because the Wolves have also signed a lot of players too, Taylor, this year so far.
Yeah, I think everybody's kind of happy that Clark is back as head coach. So I think that's kind of settled it for some of these guys like Kyle Powell.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in 21-22, our first season, the Black Bears, Kyle Powell was the first signee. Now, he didn't sign until June 25th, 2021, right? So, that's the middle of summer. I mean, you're actually only a few days into the actual summer, technically, because summer is usually June 21st or June 22nd, but you know what I mean. In 2022-23, it was a little bit different. There were two starts of us building our roster. The first was that Jake Schultz on June 2nd, 2022, was acquired in a trade with Columbus for Thomas Oldworth, who was one of the original guys that started the Binghamton Black Bears in the first season. So he was with us for the first season and then was traded to Columbus for Jake Schultz. Now, he didn't really sign a contract yet because on June 13th, that's when we signed Brandon Lucchesi. He was the first signed person on a PTO. So even if you go with, Lucchesi's signing on June 13th, it was June 13th, okay? Not in May, not in the beginning of June. It was middle of June. Then in 2023-24, this is the signing that probably is, I don't know. It was Dustin Gesso. He was the first signee of the 23-24 season on June 3rd, 2023. So a little bit earlier in the month, for sure.
That's probably why they don't do it early now.
Yeah, because it was a bad. I mean, listen, I've talked to Brant Sherwood about bringing in Dustin Gesso multiple times, and he said he really thought he could help him and make him have a complete season. And he did have a complete season last year in 25-26. So this season that we just ended, he did have a complete season. I think he was on two different teams, but he did finish with a team, I believe. But he's one of those guys where I think there's some misconception about him, but then, in the sense that he doesn't want to complete a season because he's crazy and all that stuff. Now he's crazy, don't get me wrong, but he also has a full-time job like a lot of these guys do. And you kind of can't blame him sometimes when the full-time job comes a calling and you got to pick between hockey where you get paid peanuts or where you're going to go make watermelons somewhere. Right. So you kind of have to, differentiate between fact and fiction when it comes to these players. Now, on the ice, he's a freaking nutcase. And that's the type of thing that he just couldn't get through with a team is that, he's got all the skill in the world and then he's a freaking nutcase. And it didn't change when he was with Binghamton either.
And I think that's just one of those really unfortunate cases because, again, the talent was there, but unfortunately the personality just couldn't keep up with the talent. And definitely the only memory that I actually have, because I've never, I didn't really pay attention to him much on the ice at any point and any team. But the only memory that I have is when we drove on the way home, it was horrible, but a really bad snowstorm to go out to where the Venom were, which is in Poughkeepsie, I think it was at the time.
Sure, one of the two places.
But that was a very tense game on the ice. And I remember that's the game that him and Jesse Anderson got tossed. And there's literally just a thin, like, black sheet dividing them. And Dustin is losing his mind, saying he's going to fight Jesse. And he's like standing there, like waiting for him to come through this curtain, but he never does, of course. And that's the memory that I have, is just him losing his mind, and Jesse's like waiting for him to come and just never does. And then there's like nothing dividing them to go to the locker rooms. And it's like when dogs are fighting and you move the gate and they just like, they stop barking at each other. That's what it reminded me of. That's
hilarious. All right. In 2024-25, Tyson Kirkby was the first signee. That was on June 17th, 2024. So middle of the month. And then last year was Tyson Kirkby on June 18th, 2025. Now, Tristan Miro is June 23rd of 2026. So that's basically it. This is the first time I think we've had a brand new player be I don't mean a brand new player in this. I mean like a rookie, like a true rookie is coming in for the first time, and that's your first signee. That's the first time that's happened in Black Bears history. But hey, again, it's a change of an era for the Black Bears at this point. But fans, what I want you to take from this is that only twice was it early in June, but generally it's in the later parts of June that this team has really started to put the team together. And guess what? It's worked out for us still, right? 3 championships, so can't really complain about that.
That, and there, this season, this off season, there's more moving parts happening than there were in previous off seasons. So
yeah,
I'm telling you right now, my money is going to go, like, right now I'm on Motor City. Like, it seems like they're just so well prepared. And I think that Port Huron's going to truly have a run for their money. I don't think they're going to be, top dog this year like they thought they were. And I think Motor City is going to hold high for me. I hope. Listen. I'm not saying that we're going to be bad or anything like that. No. I just think Motor City seems very prepared, and the people that they are signing, they knew coming into this offseason exactly what they were doing.
I don't mean to chirp you, but that's because I think you just, love Connor so much just that you think that he's going to win. But here's the thing. You make a great point. Like Motor City is not going to be a team where Port Huron can go bully around, because Connor Smith isn't going to we saw how Connor and Dakota both played, right? And they are so skilled that those guys are going to have to, like in Port Huron, they're going to have to realize they're going to be playing against skilled players like they've played the last 3 years against Binghamton and not being able to beat them. So it'll be very interesting. I don't think that Motor City is going to be a pushover on Port Huron, because Port Huron is going to see some serious skill in their face.
Yeah, that's kind of my hope, is that, they're not going to just face them 6 times like they faced us, but it'll be very interesting to kind of see what happens. That's why I truly hope Motor City kind of gives them a run.
Oh, I think they will. Okay. Now, on the FPHL's transaction page, there was another new name listed. So when they put Miro's name up, they also put another player. Now, this is not official through the Black Bears yet, but it is up on the transactions page. And, it could change, but this guy seems like a guy that Brant Sherwood would like to bring in. And so so he signed with the Black Bears, at least according to the transactions page, and he is forward Brandon Barrett out of Temple University. Now, this is an ACHA Division I club hockey team, okay? So, but they're one of the better ones out there. Now, he played 4 years with Temple. The last 2 years, guess what he was, Taylor? Uh-oh. Did I lose you?
Sorry, I didn't. No, I accidentally muted myself and I didn't realize it. Where was he?
Yeah, no. So the last 2 seasons for Temple, guess what he was?
What?
He was the captain. So that's the funny part about this. Another guy that Brant Sherwood's bringing in that is the captain of the previous team that he was a part of. So it makes perfect sense. But with that team, he's got close to 70 goals scored, and well, maybe it's like 60 goals scored, and at least 100 assists in those 4 seasons with Temple University. So my guess is we'll probably see that announcement either Thursday or Friday. So as you're listening to this, fans, you'll probably see another signing. And that's the other thing. And we'll get to that after the interview with Cam Cervone. But Taylor, at least we got 2 signees at this point.
Yeah, I mean, the whole captain thing is definitely, that was the first thing that I kind of noticed when you had sent this to me. Was, you know, it's the first thing that caught my eye was seeing the C there. So it's definitely interesting to see that. But it's also, it's weird because it's interesting to see that like our first 2 signees are like truly rookies coming into this league, but at the same time, they've both been leaders. So I don't know. It seems like we're off to a good start here. So I'm very interested to kind of see what happens.
I am too. But I hope next week we get at least 1 returning player signed. That would be nice. You know, it'd be good to see. But again, they might be waiting. They might be in a lurch. We don't know. We don't know what's going on.
They're gonna make you wait until October.
So I want to tell everybody that I do this interview with Cam Cervone. Now, some of this is not on air, but some of this might be a little bit on air. But there was a little bit of friendly fire between myself and Cam Cervone a little bit because he's going to the enemy. He's going to the ugly stepchild of Andreas's teams, which is the Mid-South Monarchs. Yes, I am starting a little bit of a rivalry between Binghamton and Mid-South. So the schedule makers, because Cam agreed with this completely 100%. Cam agreed that the 2 teams need to play against each other. Matter of fact, I would love it if Mid-South was opening weekend in Binghamton. That would be awesome.
Oh, that would be brutal. What are you talking about?
Why is that brutal?
That would be... Well, because you're so picky about them winning on banner raising night. So
right.
Why would you want to bring the ugly stepsister? I can't believe I'm saying that. All I'm picturing is Mac Jansen listening to that interview and hearing you say that they're the ugly stepsister and just being appalled that you called him the ugly stepsister is all that I am imagining.
Listen,
that's why I can't get over it.
I love those guys that are down there. But we got to have a rivalry. We got to have a real rivalry with that team. And yes, it's under the same organization. And I know Andreas has got to, favor them both equally and whatnot. But we've won 3 championships. I'm just saying.
I'm telling you right now, if they had signed Connor, I would have been. I would have been done. I wouldn't have wanted to see that. Nope. I would have been out.
You would have been out, huh? I would have
been over it. I would have been done.
Well, they could make a trade for him. You never know. I mean, what if he goes up to Peoria and Peoria says, no, thank you. And he's like, he calls up Mac Jansen and he calls up Tyson and says, hey, can I come play for you guys? And there's a trade that happens between them and Fresno. And he could show up and then Taylor's on board with me on this, right? Where there's a rivalry. There's a true, but it's really just Binghamton South more than anything, right?
We're speaking of different Connors, but I guess technically would be true. I mean, I would be upset about that too. I'm saying
Connor
if Mid-South had picked up, I mean, I know that wouldn't happen because he's, his job and everything. He's in
that's
where I was going with it.
Man, I thought you were talking about C-Mac, not Connor Smith. But I should have known better. Yeah. But either way, there's a little bit of a friendly kind of fire, really fun stuff. And I got to be honest with you. I love Cam to death. I love M. And I'm happy for these guys. And I want everybody to know that, no, I don't think that they're the ugly step child or whatever of Andreas's team. But I'm going to have some fun with it this year. And I really do hope that at some point during the regular season, the 2 teams play against each other. And I'd love Binghamton to go down there for 2 games, then to come up here for 2 games. It doesn't have to be on opening weekend. I understand that's kind of cruel to do. Although there's going to be 3 or 4 guys there that would enjoy the banner raising, right? I mean, I guess, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, they got to get their ring, so I guess.
Well,
I mean, at that point, you're going to have to invite every team because everybody's got a black bear on it somewhere, it seems.
Well, yeah, possibly. Well, it's just not Motor City because, those guys didn't play last year. And not Port Huron. I don't care. If one of our guys goes to Port Huron, forget it. They don't get the ring. We're going to ship the ring FedEx to like somewhere in Albuquerque or something?
I think it depends, because I brought this point up before, and Port Huron's a great example, and Blue Ridge is another good example. Certain players fit in certain places,
sure,
and I feel like that's like their home. Like they can't play anywhere else. Like Jamie Bussell, he played for us. I can't see him anywhere else but Port Huron, because he just fits that so well. Nick Suckless played for us. I can't see him anywhere but Blue Ridge, because he just fits in so well. It's just one of those things where I feel like once players move around, like, yeah, certain ones, it does suck to see them go. But once you see them kind of going, like Caden Henry, another great example, once you see them kind of branching out into these other teams, you're like, holy cow, like they're able to do so much more. Even though like sometimes Jamie Bussell just...
Are you gonna feel that way when the first time Connor Smith comes to Binghamton and then he scores right in front of you on our goalie?
Probably, yeah. I probably will be. I'm hoping that he hasn't played hockey since he retired, and that he's a little bit slow to the start, and then I'll feel okay. I'll feel okay if he takes a while to kind of get back into the swing of things. I will be okay. If he comes out firing, no.
I really want Motor City to come here.
Face Motor City.
Motor City can come here on the first weekend now. Now I'm changed my mind. Let's not bring Mid-South in here for the first weekend.
I'd rather face Motor City 6 times than Port Huron 6 times.
Yeah, well,
I just think it'd be more fun.
I'll be honest with you. I think we're getting
to face Mid-South. Do you think that they'd play some pranks on each other? And the reason that I brought that up is because I remember the interview that you did with Don, where he had said something about something happening in the Danbury locker room that they can't talk about.
Yeah, and we don't know. I still don't know.
I know. I want to know so bad. It's bugging me. I want to know so bad.
Well, next time I have him on.
I almost wonder if there's some friendly fire and some friendly shenanigans that go on between the two locker rooms with Mid-South and Binghamton.
Well, if Mid-South comes to Binghamton, right, and say Aiden is the so what happens? A lot of times teams don't travel with their equipment manager, right? So sometimes you get assistance from the Binghamton's equipment managing team, because we usually have anywhere from 3 to 4 guys that are doing that type of work on an actual game day. So I don't know if Aiden would do that to those guys, right? Because to make a practical joke work in that sense, you'd almost have to have the equipment guys involved. Now, Aiden's going to come back on the show this summer. So, and I'm sure he's going to hear this. I'll have to ask him, would he get involved in a practical joke between Binghamton and Mid-South if the Mid-South came up and some of the guys wanted to do that? Well, I don't know. We'll see.
I already have the perfect thing.
Oh, no.
We're going to get shirts made up that say the ugly stepsister, and he's going to hang it up where their jerseys go.
Oh, that would be so bad. That'd be so bad. Listen.
And of course, that only works if they listen to the show.
Well, I know Cam's going to, I know Cervone is going to listen to the show, and I've already called.
Or you don't have to hang it up on all of them. You could just hang it up on Cervone's and Tyson's and Emery's. And
Tyson.
Go to wherever Jansen's going to be.
Tyson would freaking flip if somebody did that, But listen, and again, folks, I love these guys. I hope they do well, just not well enough to beat us. Because, well, it's a rivalry now. Either way, we're going to get to the interview with Cam Cervone. We'll be right back, right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Hi, this is Don Biggs from the 92-93 Binghamton Rangers. Hi, this is Brandon Buchinski.
This is Grady Wittenberg, the voice of the Binghamton Senators, and you're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
Here is another Power Play Post Show interview exclusive with Bob Howard.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Power Play Post Show. Very excited to have this gentleman on with me. Hopefully it's not the last time. I'll have to talk to Cole Parenti about that to make sure that this isn't the last time. And wait, I might have an in with the owner, too, of the team, so that might work out okay. But I am a little sad that he's leaving, happy that he's going to still be playing, and very happy that he's happy about where he's going and about playing as well. Either way, he is defenseman Cam Cervone. Cam, welcome back to the show. It's always good to talk to you. I was a little, when I was sitting there watching the draft, Cam, I got to be honest with you. I'm watching this and I saw Tyson go, and I knew ahead of time Tyson was going to Mid-South. I'd already been briefed on that by our owner, Andreas Johansson. And, but then I was like, holy shit, Cam Cervone. Holy crap. Emerson Emery. I'm like, and then Darian Benchik. I'm like, holy crap. It's like Binghamton South has formed, especially with Mac Jansen. But Cam, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bobby. It's always a pleasure to be on. And no, thank you for, it's just crazy to think about. It all happened so fast. And and it's happy to be back on the show.
Talk about that moment when Mac Jansen called you to talk to you about picking you and having you come down. What did he say to you?
Well, first off, he was he's welcome to Mid-South, welcome to the team. But he said he was pumped to get me in the draft, and excited for new things to come in Mid-South, and we're really excited to get things going and bring that Binghamton flair to Mid-South here.
And the culture too. I think you and I were talking off air a little bit about the culture. Obviously, you, Emerson Emery, Dan, or Darian Benchik, of course, Tyson Kirkby, the captain, the guy who's been here for 5 years here in Binghamton, heading down to Binghamton. But then Mac Jansen is also going to be the head coach. There is going to be a lot of the Binghamton culture down there in Memphis, something that you guys will be able to build on, correct?
For sure, 100%. Especially, from day one. I mean, just obviously knowing, Kirk's, Janny, and their leadership from this past year, and Kirk for 2 years. Mm-hmm. Just knowing what we expect on a day-to-day basis that that brings a championship culture, to a team, and going there, like I said, from day one, we know, internally, as a group of five of us, it's going to be what to expect, what's expected of each other each and every day, what it takes to win a championship, and not only with bring it internally, we're going to bring that out to the rest of the team, when what's going to be expected, especially from what Mac expects is that now him being a head coach and seeing what he does as is an amazing, incredible player, and Kirk's being our captain, and he just knowing what's expected day in and day out, because it ultimately it works in a championship team. So it's excited to bring that championship culture within our core group there to express it to the team, and it's an exciting opportunity for sure coming up here.
You guys lost game 2 against Port Huron, and Mac Jansen was not able to play in that game. And I bring this up because I want to get your opinion on the type of coach you think he's going to be. I'd heard that he sat up in the box, with the owner's box with Andreas, didn't say a word the whole game. He was upset that he couldn't be out there on the ice with you guys. And then, of course, game 3 happens in Binghamton, of course, and he goes and he scores the 2 goals. What kind of coach do you think he's going to be? I saw the emotion from him after game 3 against Port Huron in, the post-game scrum where we were asking him questions and how he got emotional. What kind of coach do you think he's going to be?
For sure. And obviously, during that time, it was tough to lose a guy like Janny, a guy that works hard, so hard day in and day out, and such a big leader for our group. You want to do it for a guy like that, especially, heck, we were happy to get it done, for him. That's a guy who bleeds his team day in and day out. And that's what I expect from him day in and day out as a coach. I mean, he's going to expect, to work your butts off each and every day. Mm-hmm. We're going to, play our brand of hockey and, culture, and obviously, bring the culture to the team. And he's, it's going to definitely remind me of Sherwood Shearsy, a bit, just the way, his demeanor and everything. But he's going to try and get the best out of you each and every day. Janny is, and not only is he a great player on the ice, but he's a great guy off the ice. And I'm expecting great things from Janny, and I'm excited to play for him. I really am.
That's just because he's from the Midwest, and even though I tried to start crap with you guys earlier before we started recording, even though he's from Minnesota, you're from Michigan, you guys love each other just because you're Midwesterners, and there's this bond that you guys kind of stick through and through. But there is a bond that you guys truly did form while you guys were all in Binghamton, whether it be Tyson, whether it be you or Emerson Emery, who another guy. I mean, it's like really, you got to take two of my favorite guys on the team. Like, if I got to pick guys who are my favorites, and when people ask me this question, who's your favorite player, Bobby? And I'm like, I'm not going to really say, but to be honest, as just people, like, first of all, Emerson Emery, he's my New York Ranger brethren. I mean, we commiserate about the Rangers all the time because they suck half the time. And, or there's these expectations that they're going to be good and they just can't reach those expectations. And Chris Drury's just got to go. And, when he hears this, he knows exactly what I'm talking about there. But, two of my favorite guys, personnel wise, not players on the ice, but just personally, I love you guys. And, but I know that's why the culture in Mid-South, down in Memphis, is going to be so good, because we're talking about good guys going there. And Darian Benchik is one of them. Mac Jansen, Tyson Kirkby, all these guys that are going to be there. Cole Parenti, we're still, we're worried about. We'll see what happens there. And Cole, I know you're listening, so I got to give you a little bit of a jab. But the good guys first mantra that Brant Sherwood always talked about, right now you got 5 guys down there that fit that mold.
For sure. First of all, I have to say, we'll definitely keep an eye on Cole down there. That's for sure.
Good.
I know Cole's listening, so we're going to keep an eye on you there, Cole. No, for sure. And you touched on it a little bit at the start there. Is and that's what is what made us so successful in Binghamton is that culture. You can go in the locker room each and every day, and you could be taught. In some teams maybe there's clicks per se. But in Binghamton, in our locker room, it was everybody, could talk to everybody on each day. Like, could talk to one guy and then the other, there's all, everyone's talking to each other. Right. And and that's what creates that team bond, the team chemistry. You can hang out with anyone. Right. And everyone's welcome to hang out and it's what helps create championship teams for sure. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously a part of what we want to bring down there too, right? And to continue that. And it's something that, all of us want to, start at the beginning, right? And obviously we're, as a group, we're going to be starting from scratch, as an expansion team. And, to bring that experience and bring that culture down to Mid-South, it's definitely exciting. And and it just makes for a great locker room in general. And it's, we're definitely, we're excited for that for sure.
Cam, you guys just won what ended up being Binghamton's 3rd straight championship in a row. One of the things that you said to me after the game was, I was on the ice for this game. That really means something to you, right?
For sure. Obviously, for me, during obviously my first championship, the team second, in the Triple Crown, I should say. Obviously, being out with the injury was it was tough for sure. And to me, obviously that whole summer prior, I just wanted to come, do anything I could to come back from it and work my butt off, and so I can be on that ice for a 3rd championship, and to do it on home ice again, winning the 3rd straight. To become a dynasty, for gosh sakes, in single A minor pro hockey. It was definitely a feeling that, obviously cliche as it sounds, it's definitely a feeling you just can't describe. It was beyond words can say about it. As cliche as it sounds, but it meant a lot to me for sure.
Now, in the first championship, they didn't lose any games in the playoffs. In the second championship, they lost 1 game to Port Huron. In the third championship, they lost 1 to PD and 1 to Port Huron. The league keeps getting stronger and better. There's better players in the league now than even 5 years ago when Binghamton started. You've played both in the SPHL and the FPHL. Do you believe that even in the 2 years that you've been in the FPHL, do you think the league is getting better every year?
100%. From my first year to now, the league has grown tremendously. You could just, the talent, on every team is just getting stronger and stronger. And, teams now realize they have to, do what they can to compete, right? And, and recruit better. And that only just makes the league stronger as it goes, right? And that's what, and ultimately, obviously, that's what you want to see as a league, right? You want to become better each and every year. And, and it's always great. It's great to see, I think. And I even think this coming year, it's going to get even stronger. And then it's great to see. It really is. And I'm excited to see, especially the next coming year, how much stronger the league's going to be, for sure.
Well, I mean, and the reason why I say all that is because, like, even in Port Huron, they brought in 3 D1 guys. It's like, and you're a D3 player playing against D1 guys, and that really says a lot that this league, and probably the SPHL does it a little bit as well, and it happens even in the ECHL, where D3 guys and D1 guys, and I think the 2 divisions of hockey can I know people will laugh, and maybe even people who played in both of those divisions will laugh a little bit when I say this. I think in some ways they're a little bit closer than people think talent-wise. And the reason why I say that is because some guys who are really good D3 guys could be on D1 teams on the 4th line or on the 3rd D pair, that type of thing, right?
For sure.
I think when you see D1 players playing in the SPHL and the FPHL, it's proof that there are a lot of good hockey players out there. And now there's a little bit more space for them to play pro hockey. Even if they weren't on the first line of a D1 team, they can still play pro. I mean, and you've played with one for the last 2 years with Kyle Steffen. For
sure. And, and like you said, you hit the nail on the head. It's just, there's so many great spots to play hockey now, and it's great to see that there's spots opening up, because it just means the hockey each and every year just getting stronger and stronger and stronger as a whole, as a game as a whole. Yeah. And it's great to see, because it creates a lot of opportunity for guys to go play in spots they may not even have thought about playing 10 years ago, right? Just let's say that. Yeah. And it's for some it may change their lives, on and off the ice, right? And it's great to see that, the hockey as a game as a whole is getting stronger. You're seeing, D1 guys playing with D3 guys, but, and as you move up in the hockey ladder, I mean, the funnel only gets smaller and smaller.
It does.
And,
it does.
And it's one of those things where, hockey just getting, like I said, stronger and stronger. And the talent, just everyone's going to be closer to equal as you move up in the ranks. So
yeah, I should have mentioned as well, Cam, there's even some major junior guys playing in the Fed or in the SPHL as well. I mean, Dominic Tomei, he played a handful of games in the Q, right? Yep. So and I mean, I think Josh Rosenvig is the other goaltender. He played in the major junior ranks. It's just that there's more space for guys to play, which is great. That's number one. But also, I think there's more guys that feel that they can go play pro hockey where maybe 10 years ago they couldn't.
For sure. And like you said, a lot of, I think we touched on this, and you said, you mentioned me, before we talked on here. I mean, you said, below the ECHL, there's hockey's growing rapidly into new markets. And, yes. Like I touched on it, it's opening spots up for players to play in spots that may be intriguing to them. Right. And, for me personally, if you told me 3 or 4 years ago I was going to be playing hockey in in Mississippi, I I wouldn't believe you. Right. And it's just like, it's kind of one of those things where, spots open up in places where it intrigues players and becomes a destination. And, it's really one of those things where it's great to see because, it gives guys the opportunity to play after, college or after juniors even. And, when they turn pro and it creates a great, opportunity and, experience for everyone too, especially if you want to move up to the higher levels as well.
I was talking to Chris Mott after you guys won the championship. He was obviously in town. I don't know if you saw him, but he was at the arena and he very much enjoyed the fact that you guys won another championship, even though he was on the other side of the coin a few times against you guys this year. He told me that if he was selected, if potentially in an expansion draft to go play in California, that he'd be intrigued to go play there. If Mid-South is scheduled to go to California, are you kind of excited to maybe go and play in California and see what the hockey rinks are like and just kind of like what the atmosphere is like out in California?
Oh, 100%. I mean, you could just say California. It already intrigues me. Yeah, no, for sure. It's great to see the league, growing into, especially different markets in California. I mean, you got a team in Oceanside that's by San Diego. I mean, Fresno, Stockton. I mean, I wouldn't be lying to say I wouldn't want to go check out Oceanside, on a road trip, right? Like, wow, I'm playing a hockey weekend series in Oceanside, right? It's like, it's definitely very exciting. And, if we have the opportunity in Mid-South to go to California, it's definitely be circled on the calendar to go out there and beat those guys. Especially
in January, February, when it's like cold, this side of the Mississippi and so on, and you guys could go out to, California. I mean, it's Southern California and San Diego. So, I mean, that would be a great kind of like cool thing to do in the middle of the wintertime. I know a lot of the Northern teams probably would love that. I think that would be pretty awesome. Cam, can you talk to me what it's meant to play in Binghamton these last couple of years?
For sure. I mean, from the day I arrived in Binghamton, to winning, our third in a row, it's been a special time, and it's always going to be a place that's, always home and close to my heart for sure. And it's a place that's welcomed me with open arms. I mean, it's, one of the best fan bases in minor pro hockey. One of the best, especially, the guys I've played with in the locker room. It's a great group of guys that I've got to know over the past 2 years. And, and luckily some are coming with me to Mid-South and, we're going to be together. But obviously there's some guys I'm going to miss in the room and, Shearsy and Q, great guys to play for, to, the guys, to everyone in the front office. It's, I can't thank them enough for my time in Binghamton and just, making it a special place to play. And, the town of Binghamton, the fans, for making it special each and every night and making the place, rock every night and supporting us, throughout these years and winning, a Triple Crown. And no, I can't thank everyone enough. It's been great.
You didn't say anything nice about that one podcaster that you know.
Oh, you already know. Come on.
Well, that's because I'm a Yankee.
I know you're just looking for a cookie over your eyes.
Oh, I am at 100%. By the way, the Yankees are still winning 4-3. I just want to let you know that over the Tigers.
Yankees. Yankees and Tigers is always a great series. So you can't. It's always a great matchup. A couple
more things I want to talk to you about or get your thoughts on. Blake Tosto is coming back home here in just a week or so. The friendship that you've made with Blake because of the Binghamton connection and the fact that you guys are both from the same area. Talk a little bit about how important his friendship with you is.
For sure. I mean, we've touched on it before, when I played against Blake growing up and, funny enough, we start training together and honestly, putting the connection together, Blake being in Binghamton and, I've known, Coach Sherwood, Shearsy before I came to Binghamton too. Yeah. And obviously that's a big part of, what it is today. And, I can't thank those guys enough too for, getting me to Binghamton. And it's, his friendship, he's one of my best friends to date, and we still talk every day. We're going to be training together this summer on the ice and stuff. He's definitely been one of those guys who's been there for me, and I'm there for him, and I'm happy for his success too. For him being in the SP, and he got to you got to call up to the East Coast this year, and
great.
For him, it's awesome for him, and I'm happy for him, and we still got it's funny enough, we got summer league here, summer pro league that we play in, and we're gonna be vying for a championship there again. We won in 2024, so we'll be back. Last year I had to take a hiatus for my shoulder, and then this summer we're gonna be gunning for another summer pro championship, so we're looking for that.
Now, what's interesting, that's what I wanted to touch upon a little bit. Now, I don't want you to name any names, but what's interesting about these summer leagues that I know you, Connor McAnanima, play in, because he plays in one out in the Connecticut, Massachusetts area. There are guys that play D1 hockey, NHL guys, AHL guys, Coast guys that all play in these leagues. How cool is it that if you don't play one game in the NHL in your career, you know that you have played against some of these guys who have made it to that upper level, and that there's no ego. I mean, on the ice, there's a little bit of an ego, right? But off the ice, you guys are just all hockey players who love hockey and just kind of play in these leagues because you love it so much.
For sure. I mean, to touch, as you get older, as you move up the ranks, from junior to college to pro, I mean, everyone's got the same goal in mind in the summer. And, it's just to, keep, enjoy the game, get better, but also have fun with it, and get creative out there. And, and then that's what these summer, leagues are about. And, I've played here for Eastside Elite for Steve Oleski, runs it, former NHL player, Pittsburgh, Washington. He's awesome guy. That's who Blake and I skate his league we skate in, and
that's awesome.
We've been fortunate enough throughout the years that he's allowed us to play in the league, and I've played in it since I was a AAA youth guy to now. I've played the last 8 years in it, and it's just every summer it's everyone's super cool. We're all out there to get better. I mean, first of all, there's no contact, and skill and creativity is always encouraged. To make plays, and you're making plays to guys that, NHL guys out there, and it's a cool feeling. And to those guys, all those guys are super cool and nice, and they're in everyone's, you're going to make everyone's, even the NHL guys, they, older, higher pro guys, they make mistakes too. And what they're, it might be very minimal, but we're all out there to get better at the same time. And, everyone's super cool about it. And that's how, for, a lot of guys, it helps you become better as a hockey player as the summer moves on going into next year. And, it's always fun every summer. It's a little more relaxed too. And you just go out there and make plays and kind of just, have a chuckle here and there because it's the summer, and just have fun with it, for sure.
Now, do you have anything planned, fun, vacation, going somewhere, doing anything? I know you talked a little bit about possibly going to a Tigers game with Blake, because that's something that you guys thoroughly enjoy, even though they're losing 4-3 right now in the bottom of the seventh.
You had to rub it in, didn't you?
I have to a little bit, yes. But do you have anything planned for this summer?
I do, yes. I mean, obviously, Tigers game with Blake and a bunch of our buddies here in Detroit, hockey buddies.
Yeah,
we'll be doing that. I'm going to California, actually, funny enough, for a roller hockey tournament in Anaheim area in July, and then so I actually work. I work on the side. I work for a travel agency, so I'm going to be doing a lot of travel in August. I'm going to Mexico and Punta Cana for a work trip. And I say work trip, it's work and fun. I work. It's an awesome, I do that obviously also playing, and it's an awesome job.
Yeah.
It's something I want to do after hockey.
Nice.
So that's why I'm doing, I'm doing both. So I'm fortunate to be doing both. And then probably when getting closer, just getting ready to head down south, gear up for the season, and like I said, I'm very excited to get down to the Memphis area, Mississippi area for the season. It's all exciting.
Do you feel like this upcoming year you're going to have a little bit more responsibility, being in your third year of pro hockey, being with a team that's going to be putting guys together from scratch almost in a sense, right? I know Mac probably had his, pickings a little bit to get you and M and Darian Betchick. And of course, whatever situation got Tyson down there as well. Do you feel like there's going to be a little bit more responsibility on you on the defensive core? And are you ready for that?
100%. 100% more responsibility, I feel. And I'm very, very excited for that opportunity.
Awesome.
Definitely, going into my third year, just definitely, going to a new team, coming with Tyson and E, and obviously Mac at the helm, but all, there's definitely going to be definitely feel more of a leadership role. And I'm excited to take that on. And I'm excited to do with all those guys, with Mac and Tyson having a lot of experience, and E coming with me as well. We have, our experience. E and I have our experience, and just doing it all with those guys and to help create a new culture down in Mid-South, with a new group of guys. It's a very exciting opportunity, and get something special started down there for sure. And it's, like I said, very exciting.
My last question for you is this. Do you want on the schedule Mid-South versus Binghamton?
Of course. I want to see everyone, play everyone. And, in the end, a Monarchs victory.
Oh, wow. That's so hard to hear, man. I don't know if I can handle that. I might have to cut that one out. Oh my gosh.
Hey, I'm a Mid-South guy. We've got our own ambitions down south too. So
yeah, you guys want to get to the championship so you can lose to Binghamton. I know how that is.
Oh, no.
I got to get Mac on. I got to get Mac on the show just so I can hear him curse me out for saying all this stuff because, but no, I hope you guys are on the schedule. Be careful with
your words because I'm in Mac's corner, so I'm with Mac on this one. You say anything bad about Mac, I'm coming after you.
I love Mac Jansen. Are you kidding me? No, I mean, first of all,
I'm messing with you.
I'm a Minnesota Golden Gophers fan, so I love people from Minnesota. Right. So I'm okay with the Minnesota guys. All right,
I guess we'll let you live then.
I listen, I love the people in the Midwest. I have a hard time rooting for anything Michigan college wise, right? Because being a Gophers fan, you kind of have a hard time. We're like the little brother, even though we used to be the big brother. Like Minnesota used to win national championships in football. They used to win national championships in hockey as well, right? And now they don't do that no more. So now Michigan's the big brother that everybody looks to in the division, and it kind of sucks, right? Especially being a Minnesota fan. But I understand because I don't think you're a University of Michigan fan, right? You're a Michigan, Western Michigan?
I'm a Michigan fan.
Oh, you are? Okay. I wasn't sure. Well, because there are people that live in Michigan that don't like the Wolverines, but they like the other Michigan teams. And then there are people in Minnesota.
Yeah, Michigan State. Mm-hmm.
Look at Danny. Danny's Saint. He likes Minnesota St. John or Saint. I think it's St.
Cloud.
St. Cloud. He likes St. Cloud, where I like the Gophers. So it's different. It can happen and whatnot. So.
Sure.
But I hope we have a great rivalry between Binghamton and Mid-South. I hope there is at least 4 games. So you guys can come up to Binghamton for 2, and then they could go down to Memphis for 2. That would be, to me, the dream kind of like, especially this first year, right? Because if more teams come into the league and you don't need to travel that much, that's fine. But at least this first season, I want to see Mac Jansen go up against Brant Sherwood and see who wins that. I really do. I think it would be fun. I think Mac would love it, and I think Brant would love it too.
Oh, for sure, it would be awesome on all fronts for sure. And and to go up to Binghamton and then have them come to Mid-South, it would be perfect. And obviously, I'd love to come back to Binghamton and play in front of the great fans.
Well, you got to come get your ring. We're not shipping the ring down there. Are you kidding me? No way.
Everyone's holding hostage so we can play.
Yes, I like it. We'll hold the rings hostage.
I'm all for it. So we've got to talk to the schedule makers.
Although I think we need to give the ring to Tyson because I don't want Tyson's dad, Ryan Kirkby, up against any of us. He's the guy that scares me the most. I've seen him on the internet before, and he's kind of vicious. So, Cam, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. It's always great to have you on the show. Again, when I say this, I truly mean this. You're one of the nicest guys that, plays on the team or was on the team. And you're just one of the nicest guys in general. And I hope our friendship can continue, even though you're on, the evil stepchild team for Andreas.
Be careful with your words there, first off. No, but on a serious note, Bobby, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for my time in Binghamton. And not only you, but everyone involved. From the front office to the guys, to Shears EQ, to everyone, the fans especially. I just want to thank you all for making my 2 years in Binghamton very special, and it really means a lot to my heart. Binghamton does, and I'm hoping we play each other. I'd love to come, play on the road in Binghamton and see you all. And
yeah,
it's like I said, it's a very special place in my heart, and I just can't thank you all for everything.
Well,
I thank you all enough for everything.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are going to go down there and you're going to build something new, and it's going to be awesome. And that's the best part of it. So, Cam, thank you so much for coming on again.
Thank you, Bobby. Appreciate it. I'm excited. We'll obviously keep chatting, and I can't thank you enough for everything. He
is Cam Cervone. I hate to say this, but I got to say this, from the Mid-South Monarchs. And we thank Cam for coming on, and we'll be right back right after this, right here on the Power Play Post Show.
If you're a Binghamton hockey fan, then you need to check out binghamtonhockey.net for all your news, stats, information, the Binghamton Hockey Hall of Fame, top 10 lists, profiles, and so much more. That's binghamtonhockey.net. You're listening to the Power Play Post Show.
And welcome back, everybody. I think that was a sneeze by Taylor. Taylor, was that a sneeze?
No, I was in the middle of dropping my phone.
Oh, you were dropping your phone. Okay. Well, hey, this is live to tape type of recording, so this is just what we're doing. That was Cam Cervone, obviously now part of the Mid-South Monarchs, Andreas's other team, one of his other three teams, I guess, because I'm not really sure the whole situation in Baton Rouge. And Baton Rouge doesn't have a name yet. They don't have a head coach yet. I don't know how they're going to have a team by the end of the summer, but I guess they'll just do it quickly. But that's neither here or there. We're back. And I'm Bob. She's Taylor. And we're going to talk a little bit more about what you should expect this upcoming summer.
So, Bobby, what should we, the fans, expect for the next Black Bears when it comes to player announcements or coaching?
It's a good question. And I want people to understand that I receive information from time to time. I knew about Miro signing before the Miro signing was announced. I have talked to Brant Sherwood a couple different times about his situation. He still doesn't know what's going on. He might know right now. I haven't talked to him in about a week. But either way, it doesn't really matter in one sense, because we're going to have players come in here that are going to want to play for the Binghamton Black Bears. Now, as I said before, sometimes people want to come in and play for a certain head coach. We saw that last year with about 4 guys, right? Ivan Bondarenko wanted to play for Brant and in Binghamton, knowing who was going to be a good situation. Mac Jansen, we know the story about Mac Jansen. He had nowhere to go. He had nowhere to be. He comes and Brant Sherwood brings him in. He wants to play for Brant Sherwood, and now he's a head coach. I think that is definitely out there. It's important to understand that, but at the same time, we're going to see what we've seen every single year for the last 3 years, which is you're going to see like 2 or 3 signings a week. You might see a signing on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You might see it on a Tuesday and a Thursday, but you're going to get the signings like you normally do. And I think, Taylor, you said it perfectly. We don't know who's coming back. And we don't really know how many players from these past few years are going to be back. And a big part of that is that their lives are changing. Some of them are getting engaged, and some of them are getting married, and some of them maybe have buns in the oven. I don't know, because I don't keep track. You know, this is not 90120 or whatever that show was back in the 90s. But my point here is that we don't know. So we're going to see a lot of people coming in over these next 2 months that we may not know who they are. But I think that we're going to be in a good place when it all comes down to it at the end. And if it's Brant Sherwood or John Quenneville as our head coach, I think we're going to be okay. I think we're in a good place.
Yeah, I think it's a lot easier to sell, 3-time winners to college kids who are looking for somewhere else to go and looking to advance their career outside of college. That it's a lot easier to say, hey, we just won 3 of them back to back. Why don't you come play here? It's a lot easier to sell it to them because they don't know the guys that have played here before. They don't know anything about the locker room or anything to do with Brant or anything of that nature. So it's a lot easier to sell to the college kids and the rookies who haven't played anywhere else in this league. Mm-hmm. As far as like the returning guys, again, a lot of them have been here for several years, or they've been in this league for a long time. Like Gavin Yates, Again, I wouldn't be surprised if he hangs up the skates, and I also wouldn't be surprised if he wants to keep skating. He obviously can still do it. We keep saying every year he's bound to slow down, and he has yet to actually do so. So I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't think even for some of these players, I think some of them
they don't know yet.
I think some of them know off the bat. Like I think like Mac Jansen's a perfect example. I think he knew at the end of this season that he was going to be done. Yeah, and he kind of already had a plan in motion. Yeah. And I think for a couple other players, I think that, they knew that this season that they were going to be done and kind of move on with their lives. I think for a couple of them that they just know. And then I think for a couple of them, I think it's going to depend on, what truly happens here. Like head coaching wise, does Brant stay? Does he leave? Does he recruit somebody else? Does Q stay? Does Q go? There's a lot of ifs, ands, or buts about it. So I think for some of the guys that could return, I think there's, they're kind of waiting and, just kind of waiting it out and dipping their toes maybe a little bit. I'm sure they're all still playing hockey. And, if they're anything like Connor McNamara, I'm pretty sure he plays nonstop. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he ever – I think he only sleeps, eats, and plays hockey. I don't think he does anything else. No, that's the only take that I get from, Steve McNamara is that's the only thing he does is eat, sleep, and play hockey. But he eats him out of house and home. He does. I'm sure that's true for a couple of the other guys, but it's going to be – I feel like it's going to be a long off season because I feel like we're probably going to see like very spread out signings, but that's just, who knows?
We don't know yet. And it'll be very interesting. I'm actually a little bit excited about like who might come in and who might come here. And maybe we don't know who our coach is officially until the end of like June or maybe in the middle of July or something. We don't know. We don't know because, in past years, they've sent out a press release. Oh, Brant Sherwood is back for another season to win a championship. Or, he says, this cup ain't leaving and neither am I. That type of thing. We didn't get that this year. And again, the celebration, I don't mean to go back to it, but that celebration told a real story. There's a story there. When you go back and you watch the celebration in front of the arena, and you see none of those guys talk about four-peating. Could it be done? Sure, it could be done. Would it be great if it was done? Absolutely. But it may not be those players that were on that stage that does it. That's the whole thing. It might be a few of them. Maybe it's Dominic Tomei and a whole new cast of characters. We don't know. But we're going to find out in a few months.
I think everybody is kind of excited. I think the only hard part about it is that you get so used to these players because they've been here for so long. Like Kirkby and Yates and, Ando, guys like that who have been here for a couple seasons to see if any of them leave. Like it's definitely going to be hard. And it's going to hit hard when, we have more new faces this season than we've probably ever had. But I also think, the fan base in Binghamton is truly unmatched when it comes to like how involved they are with the players and everything that they do for them, and just how absolutely loved they are. I mean, there's players that play here for one game and leave, and people are keeping tabs on them and posting about them and talking about them. You know, Wyatt Friedlander, everybody was so upset when he's gone, and, you know, people are still asking about him and wondering how he's doing. So I think that's kind of the good part about our fan base, is that they're so loving. Probably going to be more newer faces this offseason than we've seen in previous off seasons.
I agree 100%. All right. We're going to leave it with that. All right. The Power Play Post Show is available on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Cast, YouTube, and Amazon Music, and on iHeartRadio. Just search Power Play Post Show on your favorite app, and don't forget to subscribe. Join the conversation on Facebook. Search for Power Play Post Show and become part of our community. Looking for everything Binghamton Hockey? Visit binghamtonhockey.net, your go-to source for stats, history, and all things Binghamton Hockey. Thank you to Rob Lepolis, our MC, John Petitucci, our music director, and from the Mid-South Monarchs and former Binghamton Black Bear, defenseman Cam Cervone. I am Bob Howard. She is
Taylor Welch.
And we'll talk to you guys again in a couple weeks right here on the Power Play Post Show.
Thanks for listening to this edition of the Power Play Post Show. Be sure to tune in next week to the Box Studios Radio Network for all the latest Black Bears news and interviews from around minor league hockey. The Power Play Post Show would like to thank John Petitucci for all the music you hear on the show. You've been listening to the Power Play Post Show.